What is going on, my friends? Derek Palizay here, and welcome back to the Derek Palizay Show. Today, we are going to start a series called Established. In this season right now, I am learning the importance of being established in three core areas: in family, in business, and ultimately in life, which has to do with inward reflecting and pulling purpose down from heaven so that way you can establish good things and work on good things daily, ultimately overflowing with hope and joy that you're able to spread to other people and activate that same thing inside of them. I'm going to do that today in this episode by uncovering three unobvious reasons that people get stuck in the past, and it stifles their ability to fully walk in something new. Often people go to one or two extremes. Either they get stuck for a very long time in something, or they end up basically future hopping into new things at random and at will, and burning the past, right? Burning the village, throwing the baby out with the bathwater. And both of these extremes are highly unbalanced. And if you want to live a established life, you have to learn how to balance between the two. Sometimes conflict is necessary, which it brings me actually into one of my first points here. Sometimes we have to fight. Sometimes we have to have conflict. Sometimes we have to come against something or stand against something to protect ourselves or protect the people that we love, and ultimately not to bring hurt and scars and bruising and darkness into a new season. But that's not always the case. And I know the current state of the world can kind of get us in this mindset that we always have to be on the defense or always have to be on the offense, and that there isn't this balance or this ebb and flow of having courage in life. So the first unobvious reason that has really helped me, and that I'm still learning the sophistication and the depth of the meaning of, is that you don't need conflict to transition. You need courage. I'm going to say that again. You don't need conflict to transition. You need courage. So many people look for red flags, and they look for things that are wrong, and they look for basically what is the thing that is stopping me, or who is the person that is stopping me. And as I said, sometimes that is the case, but most of the time we need courage in three core areas. We need courage to know only a portion of what the future holds for us. Right? So many of us are perfectionists, and we like to uncover the entire blueprint of something. How can I basically throw this hologram of what my future looks like and slowly bring that back into my reality? And that's not realistic. You're setting yourself up for failure when you think that you're going to fully understand what's on your second and your third horizon of life or the next season, and be able to fully bring that back, almost like it's a performance, almost as if it's something that you're architecting yourself. But you have to realize that there's a level of humility that comes with only knowing a portion of something, but still having the courage to walk towards it. And you really have to know your center in order to do this. You really have to know your moral construct. I posted a video on Instagram today about repetition, and people get in these sort of cycles or these wheels of repetition when they don't know their moral construct. They don't have a foundation, and they don't have order. And when you have a foundation that is rooted in moral construct, then all of a sudden you understand that order in life is not actually limitations. It's not regiment. It's not restrictions. It's not perfectionism. It's actually the freedom to explore. It's the awe and wonder to explore and to develop new things. That was one of the original purposes that God put us on this earth for, was to research and develop and discover new things. It's literally rooted in our DNA, both spiritually and physically, to research new things, to develop new things, to discover new things. So we have to have the courage to only know a portion of our future. Second, we have to have the courage to know the level of intimacy that we have with different people in the current and in the new season. And I know this is a hard one to hear and a hard one to, or even harder to implement, but not everybody is coming with you. And the people that are coming with you, not all of them are coming in the same capacity. You have to realize that there is going to be a season where you're with somebody every day, or you're communicating with somebody every week, or you're being fed by a person or a group of people or a group of communicators or leaders for a year or 2, 3 years at a time, where you're feeding into a community, where you're giving your time, and other times you're giving your mind, and other times you're giving your prayers and your energy and your hopes, and, speaking life into things. And then there's other times when that doesn't happen, and you have new doors, you have new opportunities, you have new people that speak similar things, but in a completely different way, that have a different set of life experiences, that have a different set of real-time receipts and case studies and abilities and skills that they can bring to the table, that unlock a part of you that you didn't know you need unlocked, but it's for that specific season. One of the things that I really love is God's orchestration. In order to have establishment in our life, we have to understand that some of the things that God is orchestrating require different levels of intimacy with people. And it would be nice if, oh yeah, I can bring all of my friends, all of the people, all of the family members, all the people I truly love and care about at the same capacity, at the same level, and we can just kind of hum, at 30,000 feet and just hit that cruising speed and that cruising level. But again, that's not realistic, and you're setting yourself up for the lack of hope deferred. You're setting yourself up for a lack of intimacy and ultimately for disappointment. And then the third area that we need courage in, instead of conflict when we're transitioning, is the courage to communicate to our family, and then courage to communicate to the world. There has been so many times here in the past, I would say 1 to 3 years. It's been the past 10 years, but the past 1 to 3 years where I'm transitioning either in a minor way or a major way. And I lack the courage to tell my wife, to tell my kids, to tell the people that are around me, to tell my community, to let alone to tell the public or to tell the world that, oh, I'm pursuing this thing, or I'm attempting this thing, or I'm trying this thing. And we almost get a sense of embarrassment that we're trying something new, that we couldn't be, the farmer that did the same thing for 40 years, or the person that worked at the same place and, slowly grew or slowly scaled over time, or the person who hit that one moment of innovation and all of a sudden something exploded and we were able to, display our rewards and display our banners to the world that bam, we planted our flag and that thing worked because we were so sure, and therefore I'm wearing my cape and watch it fly in the wind. It's just not realistic. So you have to realize that you have to have the courage to communicate when you're changing, when your heart is changing, when your heart is learning new things, when you need people to interact with you in a different way, when you need to set a different level of expectation or even set boundaries around a thing so that way you're protected and your relationships are protected from being burned. New things are inevitable, and in their different capacities, you have to have the courage to communicate that to the people that are involved in those things, as well as the people that are receiving value or receiving word and communication of those things as well. So that's all wrapped up in this idea that all of those things are courage, not conflict. Say it with me. All of those things are courage and not conflict. You don't need to fight people in order to do those three things. You don't need to fight people in order to know part of your future, but still have the courage to walk in it. You don't need to fight people and have conflict to enter in new levels of intimacy with people or set boundaries around intimacy with other people. You don't have to have conflict in order to maturely communicate that you're in a different place, that you're in a different season. So keep that in mind. So the second unobvious reason here that I believe that cause people to get stuck in certain seasons, not fully walk into a new one in their life and in their business, is knowing when to serve a vision and knowing when to lead a vision. Knowing when to serve a vision and knowing when to lead a vision. Serving is often paired with development, and it doesn't always mean arrested development. Sometimes you just need a new set of skills. Sometimes you need to watch somebody or observe the mechanism or the anatomy of how something works. How somebody is an administrator, how somebody is a visionary, how somebody is a communicator, how somebody is a leader, how somebody infuses or replicates themselves or their qualities in other people, how people mobilize certain ideas or certain projects, how people strategize, how people distribute communication. Sometimes you have to spiritually, mentally, or physically almost intern while you're serving somebody, right? So it's a both and. It's a serving is often paired with development. Now, sometimes you get behind because you kind of missed the mark a few times in life and you really do have arrested development and you have to be pulled up off the ground and encouraged back into reality, basically. And I've had plenty of moments in my life where that's had to happen to me, but serving is often paired with development, while leading is often paired with pouring out. So there comes a level where you're like, I got it. I see how you're doing that. I see how you're communicating. I see how you're running that campaign. I see how you're leading those people. I see how you're not responding to that dysfunction. I see how you're, communicating or moving or shifting or being a change agent in that area. And now I want to do that. Now I have language for it. Now I have research for it. Now I have scripture for it. Now I have conversations and reference points for it. Now I have the ability to communicate and push other people forward. Therefore, I want to pour out. So now I'm not in a season of shifting and serving a vision. I'm in a season of leading a vision. It has a name to it. It has my name attached to it. It has the people that God assigned to that vision attached to it. And he gave me that vision. He gave you that vision. So while there's a season where you have to serve a vision and understand the vision and the mission of somebody else and the cares and the empathy around why that matters and what they're trying to establish so you can be a part of that body, there's other times where you're the head. There's other times where you are the voice, where you're the mouthpiece, and God is giving you the language for that. So know that there's a difference between serving a vision and leading a vision. And oftentimes people confuse the two and confuse the levels of the two by saying, well, leaders are servants. Well, that's not what we're talking about here. There's a active difference, a very clear difference between being a servant of a vision and being a leader of a vision. And not only that, there's a different requirement level for both of those things. So that's one of the obvious reasons that people get stuck in the past is they may have the inspiration, they may have the tools, they may have the mindset, but they don't know how to transition between serving a vision and leading a vision. So that's number 2. And finally, number 3 is learning how not to be offended by dysfunction and underdevelopment in other people. You have to realize, and this was, I'll be super honest with you guys without any specifics, this was one of the hardest things for me to realize as a human, as a person, as a servant, as a leader. Every version of me, it was the hardest thing for me to learn, especially because the way that I operate, I'm around a lot of number ones and a lot of number twos all of the time, whether it's in the marketplace, whether it's in the secular world, whether it's in the church world, whether it is in church, whether it's in community, in my family. I'm around a lot of number ones, people who are leading visions, right? And because of that, I have to see nasty things. I have to see hard things. I have to hear bad things. I have to see underdevelopment. I have to see dysfunction. I have to see areas that are not operating as they should be. But there's a reason for that. If you have exposure to gaps, it's not so you can get offended. It's not so you can personalize it. It's so you can be an active part of the solution. And unless you feel a specific draw away from something because you don't have the capacity or the will to navigate through it in a healthy way, then stick your feet in the ground and be a part of the solution. Be a part of the reason that that is no longer true. Be a part of the reason that people now see something in a certain perspective in a healthier way, because you were able to stick your feet in the ground. And kind of like a buffalo or a bison, one of the only animals that when a massive storm is coming, they put their head and their shoulders down into the wind. You need to go onward into the storm, right? Sometimes that is you that needs to stand in the gap for a reason or for a person or for a situation or for a project, because you can't always look to somebody else to basically walk across them while, they're suffering or while they're needing help. So sometimes you have to be that person. And that was really hard for me to, not personalize, because I always wanted to use that as my reason as to why I wasn't doing something, because it's easy as a justification, right? See, this is how it always is, man. They're always talking, they're always slandering, they always suck. They're always making false promises. They always say they're going to do this. They're unorganized. They're over here with this person. Oh, they don't see me over here. I'm not getting recognition over here. Oh man, I said this and I communicated this and I wanted to do this and they didn't meet me where I was at. Oh, I have a different expectation level than they do. And we set ourselves up for disappointment. But the reality is that's not how it is. You were supposed to be a change agent and you chose to bow out. You chose to get on your knees or back up or turn around or reverse or 180 when you were supposed to put your feet in the ground and walk forward one step at a time. You wanted the whole thing to be a solution because you wanted credit for the fix. So ultimately, when you see things that are unpleasant, it may be time for you to pull things into functionality. You may have to be the person or the reason that something gets pulled into its functionality, its original design, or experiences what it was supposed to function as for the first time. That may be your job. So let's review those really quick. You don't need conflict to transition. You need courage. You need to know when to serve a vision and when to lead a vision. And ultimately, you need to know how to not be offended by dysfunction and underdevelopment. Those may be 3 unobvious reasons that part of you or a large portion of you is getting stuck in the past and not allowing you to fully operate in the new things that God wants to breathe life into your next season and into your future. So hopefully this has been helpful to you guys for your life, your business, your family. I'm hoping that you are more established in this season. I'm praying for the creators out there that are looking to set roots, that are looking to gain confidence, that are looking to gain courage in the areas that we spoke about today. And tune into the next episode of the Derek Palizay Show. Peace.